Hey guys, I just wanted to hop on here real quick and give an update on a case that I previously covered about Mica Miller, the death of Mica Miller. So 6 months ago, I think it was now, I had covered this case, and you can find it on my deep dive playlist for like all of the details of what happened at the time. But basically, in I believe Myrtle Beach, this woman named Mica Miller was the wife of a pastor, John Paul Miller, and she supposedly herself. But since that case happened, the way that John Paul Miller has handled himself has been nothing short of suspicious, and it's very, very much indicative of someone who's trying to hide something, and the way that he talks is so fake. It's crazy, but he also has a darker history of domestic abuse and violence and things of that nature. So all that to say, since this happened, people have been outside of John Paul Miller's church that he was a pastor of, protesting on behalf of Mica since her death in April 27th, if my memory serves me, which it's my memory, so I could be wrong about that exact date. But basically, I'll just read you kind of like a recap of what it is. If you hear loud background noise, I have my fireplace on because, listen, it's cold. It's basically winter. It's in November. So in April, the Robeson County Sheriff's Office was investigating the death of 30-year-old Mica Miller after her husband's bizarre announcement of her death to his congregation at the end of a Sunday church service. So he waited till the very end of this church service to tell his congregation that the pastor's wife, his wife, was not alive. Hey everyone, thanks for joining. So she was discovered on April 27th, more than an hour away from her hometown, with a fatal gunshot wound. Another weird timing of this all is that she had filed for divorce less than a week, maybe 2 weeks before she was found dead. She had just filled her car up with gas. She is seen on camera purchasing the firearm right before she gets in her car and goes to this national forest, and she's found later deceased in the water. Okay. Apparently multiple gun casings around her body as well, which is weird. Supposedly a fisherman in the area heard her scream before the gunshots, I'm not sure. So anyway, there's been a lot of suspicion and weird things around this, not to mention JP. They were living separately since she had filed for divorce, and he had gone or tried to go into her apartment, get her journals, like right after like the day after. I'm about to sneeze. I apologize if I sneeze. So a lot of cover up. Also, he had a mistress who also went to his church, and her husband died like a couple years ago, and he was also found in the water. He was a quadriplegic, and in his wheelchair. He was found, I think, on Labor Day, by himself, his wheelchair in the water. He had drowned. Just so many weird, suspicious circumstances around this. Several people have come forward also, like saying he sexually assaulted them when they were minors. Just so all kinds of crazy things. So let's see, last week, the feds were seen raiding his house, and all of God's people said amen, because we're all like, we've known for a while. And big hats off to all of these people that have stayed protesting, for 6 months. The FBI raided his house, but they haven't given a reason why. We don't know for sure that it's related to Mica's death, but it is super, super interesting. Let me pull up my other thing here so I don't misread it. But so then on November 6th, which was yesterday, he was also arrested and charged with third-degree assault and battery for assaulting one of those protesters outside the church. There is video footage of that, basically, and you can interpret this how you want. I'm not sure if these charges will be dropped, but basically a protester approached him, yelling at him, and then he used his phone to tap her on the head with his phone. And so anyway, she filed charges. He was arrested, and now he's out on bail. He paid like $700, like the 10% to be out. And I know his hearing for that is on, I think, December 10th, if I'm correct. But there are a bunch of pictures of like boxes of stuff they're taking out of his house. And then additionally, Solid Rock Church, where he was a pastor of, has closed their doors. They were also seen a couple days after the FBI raided his home. People started moving stuff out of the church and taking down the sign outside of the church and all of this. But of course, he's not done. So he actually filed, let me find the paperwork. He filed another request. He applied for a business license to start a different church. And he's using his home address as the address for this other church. So I guess it's going to be like a virtual thing. They did not. So let me answer one of these questions real quick. Mica did not have any children. The children that were involved were from John Paul Miller and his previous wife. I think there was 3 children. They had children together. So Mica was a stepmother, but she didn't physically bear those children, if that makes sense. So he filed for a new business license to start this church called Living Water Church. And he filed for that on the 17th of this month, October. But like the Solid Rock Ministries church address is no longer active. That doesn't exist anymore. What was I going to say about that? Oh, this is fucked up. Okay, this is probably going to get me in trouble on YouTube for saying that this shortly after starting the video, because YouTube doesn't like that. Okay, let me find this screenshot here because it's pretty messed up. I wish I could share pictures, and maybe I can, but on the vertical lives, I'm not sure. But okay, let me go to this photo. Okay, so sometime between there's not a timestamp on this, so I'm not exactly sure, but sometime between when Mica supposedly killed herself and now, the church changed its name on Google to Left It in the Water. Okay, I don't know who changed it, because I know sometimes you can change names on Google, but you just have to prove like you're authorized to make those changes through the business or whatever. But is that not messed up? Because Michael was found in the water, or left in the water, and so was his mistress's husband. And I just think that's a little, like, that's really vile. If he did that, or somebody who knows something else, like, that's pretty effing messed up. Left it in the water, which has been changed now. His new church is named Living Water. Also messed up, because guess who's not alive in the water? Buddy, you piece of shit, absolute piece of shit. If I haven't done a video showing the clips of the public interviews that he did with news stations. The previous video that I did, like, he hadn't done those interviews when I did that. And I haven't done like a long form video update on the case. But if you guys go watch that, he's insane. He's insane. I personally think this FBI raid is more financial than anything. And it was seen like they did take computers and stuff from his house, but supposedly he's been misusing church funds anyway, which we knew prior to this. So I don't know if like all the attention on him and his church because of Mica's death simply like opened the door for people or the FBI to look more into his financial records. But who knows what else they'll find on those computers? Because he had a freaking plane. A plane in the church's name. Let me see if I can find some of these numbers, because I just find it super, super fascinating. Okay. Yes. So his church and their home are part of a $5.59 million real estate portfolio operated by Solid Rock Ministries. I am curious. I don't know enough about like the finances of starting a new business or church or 501(c)(3), stuff like that. But I'm wondering if he's starting this new business to transfer funds or something, trying to move money around, because I wonder if he is getting investigated for financial crimes or fraud or whatever, then, he's probably trying to maneuver things around. I don't know. Or I don't know the legality of it all. I haven't looked into it that far. But I said it in a video recently, but I'm like, even when lives don't matter, money always does, especially to the government. So I don't know that they're looking into Mica's death as part of this, but they're always going to chase the money. And if they just so happen to find some other things along the way related to Mica, wouldn't that be interesting? Okay, let me see. Hi, Danica. Thank you for your nice comment. Molly, you're absolutely right. Leaving filing for divorce is the most dangerous time for a woman trying to leave. It is extremely dangerous. And also, she wasn't pregnant, but pregnant women are also among the highest demographic of people that are at risk for being by their partner. Isn't that great? Princess Buttercup, hey, good to see you on here. She was found in the water. I know, right? They're trying to say that she entered the water and shot herself there. Yeah. There's conflicting reports. So I have read that she was found in the water and that the weapon she used was found in her vehicle. Logistically, that doesn't make sense. I don't know if that's true. Also, if you look into, like, there's so much crime that's surrounding this town, and even that park, I believe it's across state lines, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to go back 6 months of my brain and remember the details, but I believe it's across state lines, which always makes cases so much more messy, trying to work between jurisdictions and state laws and, difficult. I'm just gonna keep going and hope that this is actually working. Yeah, he's definitely foul, very, very foul. Guys, let me know, am I frozen? Because it showed me on my end that I was frozen. So I don't know if you guys can still see me. I'm not using StreamYard this time. Usually I do when I do like landscape lives, but YouTube just updated where I can do a vertical live. So I'm wondering if it's a glitch with their new update. So I'm trying to do a vertical live here. So I apologize if the footage is dropping. We're gonna blame YouTube and their glitches. So okay, I'll keep yapping. Hopefully it'll catch back up. Let's see what else. So yeah, her weapon was found, blah, blah, blah. And another weird thing, which really pissed me off at the time, is John Paul, because they were still technically married, he immediately had her cremated. That's like giant fucking red flag. It's not a red flag to get cremated. I want to be cremated. But to do it after something like this, when you're already estranged from your spouse and her family did not want her cremated at that time because they heavily suspected he had something to do with it. Whether or not he pulled the trigger is one thing, but him driving her to do this or somehow manipulating her, guilting her, what the fuck ever. They did not want her cremated right now in case they needed, to exhume the body or something like that. So it's just super, super, super suspicious. Let me see. There was something else I was going to add about this. Let me check some of these screenshots. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember too, because he had admitted to police even that he had put GPS trackers on Mica's vehicle at multiple different times. And one of those times, like, she kept going to police and telling him, like, she's being followed, she's being harassed by him, blah, blah, blah. And at one point he slashed her tires, or her tires were slashed suspiciously. So she went to the auto body place to get it replaced, and while they were replacing the tire, they found a tracking device. Wouldn't you freaking know it? So yeah, very weird. Because, like, what if she was just getting the weapon for protection because she felt threatened, she felt followed, she felt stalked? What if JP had someone else stalking her, paid someone else to stalk her? Like who fucking knows what was going on? But I'm hoping maybe some of that correspondence or information might be on the computers that the FBI took. So I guess we'll see, because they have not said what exactly they were, what the potential indictments would be. But we do know that the FBI doesn't raid all willy-nilly. They already have a pretty strong case by the time they get to the point of, raiding someone's home and taking evidence. So, I mean, that's a pretty strong indicator to me that we're going to see some other movement on this. So, some other things connected to JP and this church, just to kind of solidify how trashy of a person he is. Well, first of all, Mica, his former wife, who's now deceased, she used to be him and his first wife's babysitter. So JP Miller allegedly groomed Mica while she was their babysitter, and then eventually married her, making his new wife his children's former babysitter. Like, those poor kids, honestly, those poor kids. That's so messed up. And like I said at the beginning, there's also been multiple people. I'm also on a Facebook page, and I have been since this happened in April, called Justice for Mica Miller. It's like a Facebook group, and several people on there have said that he has been stalking and harassing them for like years, which is interesting and not surprising considering what we already know about him. He's already has a history of doing exactly that. He's just an absolute creep. But he also had somebody, I had a screenshot of it in my first long form video about this case. There was some other man on the board for the church who was a convicted child essayer. Yeah. And his dad has a history of it as well. Like, this church is so messed up. Bernard Kinnerson, yeah, that guy. Screw you, Bernard. And there's also, I had a screenshot here of when John Paul Miller was 19. He was arrested, or indictment was issued for him for assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature because he was accused of hitting a woman twice with his vehicle at a high rate of speed. I don't know the outcome of that because this was a newspaper clipping. Clearly capable of violence. Clearly effing capable. Yes, you did unfortunately understand correctly. He is a pastor. Now, he was removed from his pastoral position at this particular church, like stepped down on May 5th, I believe. God, I'm really actually impressing myself with how I'm remembering some of these dates, considering it's been 6 months. Don't expect that on anything else because my memory is shit. But for today, it's working. Okay, so blah, 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 blah. Let me see this. Yes. Sorry, I'm just trying to read some of these notes. He's also, since this case happened, John Paul, he sued someone like me who's on here talking about the case. He sued this lady for $6 million, claiming that she slandered him on YouTube and TikTok. It's probably a matter of time before I get hit with one of these. So, hey, Pandora, awake. Right, Maria, Living Water Church, real fucking rich. That's a different level of fucked up. He also supposedly has a lot of connections with the law enforcement in this community. Oh, I mentioned earlier something about the state lines thing, and I was bringing that up because there's also a lot of suspicious deaths that have been ruled suicides that have happened in that exact park that the police immediately rule as suicide, but all other signs indicate that it was not. And I want to say, okay, my memory might be failing me on this, but I want to say there's someone connected to a celebrity. Who was it? It's either fuck, I feel like I'm gonna say this wrong. Don't hold me to this. But there is a celebrity's dad that's connected to this. Like, he was found dead in the same area under suspicious circumstances, but supposedly the law enforcement in that area, in that particular forestry area, is corrupt. You know what else John Paul Miller did besides place the GPS trackers? He also would coerce and make her do very lewd things that she was not comfortable with sexually in their marriage. Again, he was a pastor. He also leaked topless photos of her. And if you go back and listen to some of his sermons, he would air, while she was alive even, he would air out her in front of the, like, while he's preaching at the pulpit. He would just like make her sound like so shitty. Like, he's such a piece of shit. I feel so bad for her. Like, if she did truly herself, I can understand how she was driven to that point of depression and hopelessness and all of that. Because he's a real fucking piece of work. He's absolutely just human garbage. The fact that he's preaching and the fact that people are still like following him and supporting him is absolutely insane. Oh, I was just reading something here that said, I read that backwards. So a different church member was arrested in the summer after an encounter with a different protester who's out there every Sunday, because the church member sprayed the protester with a water sprinkler. Now, is that like life-threatening? No, but it's still considered assault. Super interesting, huh? Yes. I completely agree. I wouldn't be surprised if they found other incriminating evidence and videos on his computer as well. And I also think, like, okay, so the FBI raided, and then this assault thing, I also think it's interesting. He probably, due to his arrest history, I'm sure he already has like DNA and fingerprints and stuff on file. But you know how law enforcement a lot of times will arrest people on lesser charges, not necessarily related to the bigger scheme of things, but they'll arrest them so they can hold them and make sure that they don't flee the country and things like that. If he's suspecting that the FBI is onto him for something greater, he very well could. He has a freaking plane. He could leave the country if he wanted to. So, but supposedly the federal agents have been keeping an eye on him since this happened earlier this year. So, you know, hopefully if it comes to that, they are onto him and they'll know that he's trying to leave before he actually leaves. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything else. There's also, unrelated to this case, guys, let me know. I want to do another long form Diddy video because there's been so many updates, so many effing updates on that. I don't know if I should do a live first like this. Let me know if you guys, you know, find that okay, or it takes me a little bit longer to do the deep dive research for the longer form videos on this case and anything really, plus editing and all of that. So it takes me a little longer to get those videos out. But if you want a more quick real-time update on where the certain cases are at, just let me know. And, you know, I'm happy to try to do some of those now that I have a different little setup where I can do it. Okay. Anything else that anyone wants to add? Okay. Yes. Yes to Diddy. You want to hear more about, Clive Davis. Oh, fucking Clive Davis. You know, fuck that guy. I actually have a list. I'm looking at it right here because I use Google, Google Keep a lot for all my notes and shit. It's probably like this long. I don't know if you guys can see me right now because I'm still frozen to me. It's like this huge long list of all of these people related and connected to Diddy that I would love to do more in-depth research on because it's all so fucking suspicious. Even the recent death of Liam Payne of One Direction when that happened, I was like, something's off about this. The timing is effing weird. It was right after Diddy was arrested. He's in the music industry. Things, he was a young, okay, I'm getting off topic. Okay, we're supposed to be talking about Mica Miller, but yeah, I think that's all the updates for Mica Miller. If you guys want to hop, feel free. But as far as the Diddy thing goes, there's so many things connected to that. And Leonardo DiCaprio especially. And there's someone, who was his best friend? Leonardo DiCaprio, a young boy. They grew up together. Fuck, I don't know. I gotta find my list. But my father told me Quincy was a weirdo years ago. Yes. Menendez. I could absolutely do the Menendez. I thought about doing a long form deep dive on that case too. It seemed like there was a shit ton of coverage on it. But I kind of want to do it, especially now that we know they're getting a retrial, or is it a retrial? No, a resentencing. I think next month, isn't it? So I could do that. Okay, I'm reading your comments, guys, trying to catch up here. Yes, Maria. Yes. Saw the video of him acting a fool on the ground. No, I'm not trying to hide on purpose. I was on video and YouTube is glitching because they just did an update where we can do vertical lives like this. This is the first time I've actually used it. And my Wi-Fi is great, but I think it's a glitch because people are saying other creators are having that issue too. So I would love to show you my puffy eyeballs right now, but it is not, I guess it's not letting me, so cool. Okay, well, I guess that's all for right now. If there's other things you want me to go deeper into, I'm happy to do it. If you like lives, assuming that the video effing works, let me know as well. But dang it. Oh, see, Lisa, we're on the same brainwave. We're on the same brainwave on that. But anyway, all right. Well, I guess I'm gonna head out since this is being a glitchy son of a bitch. And TB, tell me your details. Seriously, send me an email or something if you want. You don't have to. Because I have so many rabbit trails to go down with Diddy. So many people. Ugh, the Oprah thing, the J-Lo thing. I'm seeing updates about J-Lo today. I'm like, Jesus Christ. There's so many celebrities and just people, high profile people. So any help, any leads like that at least give me like a launching point, like, oh, okay, what is this? This helps me research something that maybe might not be as well known as some of these other facts or speculation, then that definitely helps tremendously. So thank you. Yeah, I greatly appreciate that. All right, I'm gonna hop off and I will see you guys